So speaking of training,
Slay.
how are we doing? How's the prep going?
Honestly, like perfectly.
Love that for you.
I can't even I don't even want to downplay it. I just want to ride the high while it's there. I've exceeded my my
Your
original
numbers?
comp goals.
Love
Yeah.
that.
I've done it.
It's literally perfect.
Yeah. Are we going? Can we give out finer details like timelines? Like how long you got?
A month
Nice.
today.
Location, time.
Yeah,
No. A month today.
Wait till
actually.
2 weeks. It's like it's this time. It's like
Nah, everyone thought I would have cracked by now.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I thought you would have said.
No,
something,
I just
yeah.
really don't want people there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I keep doing? And if anyone actually listens to this, they'll know. But if I don't want someone there, I'm like, oh, don't worry, just come to nationals.
Because you have to fly interstate for
It's
it.
interstate.
Yeah.
No, everything's going really, really well. 127.5 kilo squat, 77.5 kilo bench, and 155 kilo deadlift, which
Beast.
is 360 kilo total, which is 6 times body weight, which is
Oops.
all I ever wanted. So
Wild.
Now the fun begins.
we made it. Now
Yeah.
now I actually don't care because I know that I can show up on comp day and get what I originally wanted. And that's it.
Yeah.
So the pressure's off me now. I've hit it in the gym. I don't
perform
care.
even better then.
Well,
We'll
and
see.
the secondary goal was to find fun in powerlifting again.
That was the big one. That was to go into this with not low expectations because I'm not a low expectation person. I walked into this qualifying for nationals, right? I'd never had low expectations, but I just wanted to fall back in love with that process again, and it's been so fun. After remembering how to squat, bench, and deadlift again, so probably the last time I was on, it was everything was clicking again. Whereas now, just it's just stuck, and I benched 77 this week, not easily, but it wasn't.
It's very clean.
It didn't look as hard as it should have.
Yeah.
And I've done it twice now, 2 weeks in a row.
So it wasn't a fluke.
So yeah,
it's a thing,
so I'm
yeah.
okay, cool. This is a thing. I can do this, and I thought 80 kilo bench was such a big goal, and I'm oh, I could probably touch and go that
Yeah.
right now. So yeah, it's it's surreal and it's fun and it's low pressure because Ben's just well, you need to just keep showing up and ticking the boxes and doing the thing, and Annie's looking after my food. So I'm very
Good team.
yeah, we
We
Good team.
actually celebrate when you do the thing. It
Yeah.
helps too.
yeah, I literally celebrating and not having a coach. I think it's always good to look forward and say what's next, but you have to celebrate what you're actually doing.
I think there's a lot of powerlifters that once they've posted the PB, it's life sucks again.
Yeah.
Until the next 5 minutes that you're happy about the PB again, and then that's why we make them up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
5 rep,
Beltless,
43
raw.
degree,
Yeah, I get it.
85% humid because
Because you're chasing them anyway.
I'm
right?
only happy when I've hit a PB.
Yeah. And that's why I'm
Beltless, summer, midnight,
Stiff bar.
stiff bar.
literally.
That actually makes
Volume.
so much
Bumper
sense
plate.
with all the
Volume PB.
ADHD symptoms in powerlifters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, and I'm trying my best to just I actually don't have to go up every single week.
Yeah.
I actually can just do a lift better. And this week,
Yeah.
I didn't go up in my squat. I went backwards because I had 3 hours sleep. And I
Did a
was
technique day.
like,
Working on your
Focusing on
speed.
form
Working on,
today.
Working on the mind muscle
working
connection.
on your speed. Yeah.
someone's simply not strong enough to control a load. I misgrooved it.
Need more speed work, man.
Powerlifting's the best.
But it's been fun. This week, speaking of beltless, this, that, the other, I just picked up 110 kilos and I RDL'd it for easy reps this week. Can we please talk about how fucking cool that is? That's better than 155 kilo deadlift.
Beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Any wonder your glutes are growing.
Yeah, it's beast.
No shit. Slay.
It's
Wait.
funny, we have been having that conversation about whether you should just do the heavy or do the specialization thing. I was thinking about this when I was training yesterday. I was watching a guy the other week have a box that he was bent over with his elbows on, and the setup took ages and was awkward just to do some tricep extensions.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And yesterday I was
Could he
right,
even do a dip?
I had a superset that was straight bar. And it was 2 bicep exercises, and I wanted to add extra triceps, so I swapped one of them. So I was straight bar, press down, straight bar, curl, done.
Yeah.
It's
You
don't need to doesn't need to be fancy. Like
No.
Yeah.
most people
Could you not
playing
just get
with that.
somewhere else though?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Push
It's
it.
just like
Yeah.
you don't need that much nuance when you're not strong yet.
No.
And then, like,
this
you
is
look at-
Jason's favorite topic.
You look at Jess's physique progress. It's just like just got stronger, and like we have accessory movements with intent to look better,
Yeah.
but they're still lift heavier. They're fundamental. There's no like party tricks in it.
I'm going to do a post and I'm like so excited about it because it's like it's a content series I've been thinking about. Lifting heavy made me bulky.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a whole thing about how I've gotten bulkier. My ass is fatter. my delta. But like, yes, lifting heavy is going to make you bulkier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've gone up a dress size and I fucking just, it's harder to get this like 2 kilos down now. But like, I didn't gain 2 kilos, but it's like, it's going to make you bulkier. Can you just accept that that's not the devil? Like,
Yeah, being big is okay.
correct. So like, there's a whole like thing in there and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, I don't fit a few of my clothes anymore.
Yeah.
So-
I think you're like, because we've had a couple of conversations on this, the pod lately. Jess is like the archetype now where you would, at this level of strength, if you said before, like your physique is a representation of the target outcome, not the target outcome.
Yeah.
But you're in a position now where everything's in place that we could stop and go, okay, if you want to have a symmetrical physique that looked good, that appealed to a physique judge, now you could do all that nuancy shit.
Yeah.
That would matter
on
in
top.
that context. Yeah, versus what we've been talking about a lot is everyone going the other way.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to get on the step and do my cable kickback at this angle to target this part of the glutes. Like, go and fucking RDL 110 kilos.
Yeah.
And your glutes will grow
Yeah. And then add the layer on top.
after that.
And then, because right now, like, growing my glutes isn't my priority. It's just, like, squatting heavy a couple times a week, deadlifting heavy a couple times a week, and some lunges in there. But, like, 100%, if I, like, wanted to make that my focus, it would be the kickbacks. It would be the little things
Stairmaster.
that with ankle weights.
Backwards.
Sure. Sure.
But... And that will be fun, and there will be a time for that, and that will be like after powerlifting, and I'll be like, cool,
Life
let's
after powerlifting,
compete in nationals, and then be like, Jason, roast my physique.
I don't think you can take that heat.
You know what? If I make it to nationals and I do all right, my
won't
ego
roast
will
it.
be out here, and I'll need it.
I won't roast it. Not at all.
If she says.
If I can't be that arrogant, but I will be.
Who knows who shows up this year? Who knows?
Exactly right. I can't.
Well,
I can't
you have
control.
to keep that in mind, right? Like you and I mean, you coach competitors too. Like, you can't dictate who rocks up.
Well, how, like, literally, like, context. I have been, like, talking to one of my athletes that's competing in, like, 3 weeks. And the only goal has been for her to take out the national record for deadlift. And I was like, last Saturday, I was like, you realize that can't be your pass or fail target because you don't get to control what that is.
What the record is.
You can only be as strong as you are, and if that is not near the record. And she's like, true. I was like, so I need you to go away and tell me what a good day looks like, what a bad day looks like.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that so we can get into the right mindset before we get to competition. This week it got updated from 186 to 220 kilo deadlift.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep. And she was like, okay, I'm really glad we had that conversation.
Yeah.
Because
like,
that would have crushed the rest of
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It literally, I can PB every single lift and not podium at nationals.
Yeah.
And it could have gotten me a first last year. Doesn't fucking matter.
yeah.
And that's what I like about powerlifting. If you can be, well, I guess, no, bodybuilding's exactly the same. Like,
can't, there's
you can
people
still bring the absolute
Whoever stands
best.
next to you.
Exactly.
There's
It
people who
doesn't,
lift the weights for like 20 years and then they just go, I'll do a show.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you got someone who's lifted weights for 4 years.
Yeah.
You gotta have more muscle.
Oh, and just like someone that just played football and was bigger than you anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just.
I remember when one
Wild.
of my clients competed and she was a novice. She's like, how the fuck is this person a novice? I'm like, it's the first time they've competed, not
Yeah.
the first time they've
They
ever
lifted.
lifted weights.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
she's lifted for 20 years. You can see it. Like, she's
Yeah.
got really mature muscle. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
My last meet, I was sort of keeping an eye on because my goal when I started powerlifting was to make nationals.
Yeah.
We can't all do it in 12 weeks. So I was like, okay, so I need to sort of looking at who was going to be at the meet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I could be on for a podium here. It was on dots. I was like, this could be on here. 10 days out, Anthony Krusner entered. I think he totaled 9-10. And then...
Was that when he was taking it easy? Was that one?
Yeah, he just showed off for fun.
Yeah,
He
I
totaled
remember that.
like
Like,
900.
take it easy.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
disgusting.
Will's going to yell at me because
Yeah.
if I lift too heavy.
Yeah.
And then some guy deadlifted, I'm pretty sure it was 6 times body weight.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was like the
Yeah,
first
we
time.
watched that.
Yeah,
That was incredible.
first time in Australia someone's deadlifted
Yeah.
6 times body weight. So his like deadlift total was like pretty close to my total.
Took up a lot.
It's just like do a squat and you'll
Yeah.
be fine. And like I tell my clients this all the time. It's like I was on track for my first medal ever in powerlifting and 2 of Australia's best
Lifting.
ever walked in the door a week before.
Yeah.
So it's like if your metric is whether it's qualifying or a podium or whatever it is, like you're opening yourself up to a lot of disappointment for no reason.
Literally.
Because
It's
I
wrong
still
motivations.
PB'd and had a phenomenal day.
Yep.
And ended up I would have gone, but lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I think it's the wrong motivation for most people. Not
Yeah.
everyone.
once you're at the top,
Because if you're competitive,
if you're Anthony Krusner, it's worth it.
yeah, because then
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going for the
Yeah.
the all-time total fucking
Yeah.
deadlift record, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for people, it's they've done a couple of meets, and
Yeah.
it's good to have targets, but it should be personal targets.
Yeah.
It's
Like
nice to break a record, but
Especially like who you're the same. Who we coach, most of them are less than 3 meets.
yeah, that's
It's like
kind of still finding your
yeah,
feet
unless you're a
bit.
freak. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you start to project numbers when you're like top 5 at Nats.
Yeah,
It's
if,
like
if
now
you're in the
let's start
conversation,
to-
it's the same with bodybuilding. It's like if you place or if you say you come first in your division, but maybe not the overall,
Yeah.
it's like, cool, we're going for that this time.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Or if you were 5th and you just, or you got your participation medal and you're like, I want a placing.
Yeah.
And if you got a placing, I just want a better one. Like, that's totally
Yeah.
fine.
And it's also timeline dependent too. Like I
Yeah.
sound like I'm my brain is fucked. Contradicting myself by saying when I started powerlifting, it's like I wanted to go to nationals. I didn't care how long that took.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
well,
it took 5 years.
I think like interject as well because like I completely agree, but I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm just doing this comp to qualify for nationals and blah 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 blah. But it's like my actual metric for this competition is I wanted to make it through my prep without crying. Like
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like
Yeah.
I just wanted to be proud of myself in this prep.
Yeah.
So like now I don't care what I put. If I make it there on the day
Yeah.
and I get my openers,
Yeah.
that's it.
We're on.
Yeah.
Like
And you have
enjoying
fun and yeah.
the process was
Even,
the number
like,
one.
Competing with your brother is gonna be sick.
Oh my God. Like I was talking to my mum about it this morning. She's like, am I allowed to watch you compete? And I was like, yeah, mum, it's fine. It's fine. You can, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm going to be there on the day. Like it's going to be really cool. Like, cause you've known my history with powerlifting. So like we get to experience that together. I get to watch my little brother compete for the first time.
Not so
Yeah,
little
it's
brother
cool.
at the moment. Christ.
He's not, I mean, my brother is like 6'3" and like just not
And
little.
getting bigger every week.
Amazing.
He's actually training hard.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's
he's very
why.
strong.
Using the genetics.
Very strong.
Genetics.
Yeah.
No, one thing that I was going to say, like, if I circle back to what you were saying before about bodybuilding, and like, I don't know if like whoever listens to this, but like roast me, whatever. Nothing frustrates me more than when someone is a first timer and they're like training for that pro card.
Yeah, you can't. You
That
can't,
just makes me sad.
Yeah.
That makes me sad. I'm like, can you just make it and feel like you did a good, like,
Yeah.
do it and go through it? And why are you already going for like the top?
Like honestly, it's a symptom of what we talk about all the time is seeing the loudest, brightest examples that are the 1%. So if you look at like that one person that got their pro card, right?
Yeah.
And I'll use the pro league for an example, like Nick Walker, like got his pro card, won the New York Pro, won the Arnold Classic, made the Olympia, came third, whatever, within like 2 years. So everyone's just like, sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Little do they know that most, like I was talking to a guy at the gym, and we were just talking about like how, that attitude of like, I'm going to be a professional at the sport. And I think we said like most competitors don't even make pro, and then the ones that do, I think, what do we say? They did like 30 plus shows to potentially, so 30
to get the card.
to potentially get a card.
Yeah.
And some people compete for like 15 years and never get one.
Yeah.
And it's because
So
you can't rock up. You don't know who's going to be next to you on the day. So you can kind of obviously try.
Is it two things? Is it a symptom of a naivety around the genetic dependence of strength and physique sports that I'm going to tick, I'm going for that pro card is just, I'm going to tick every single box.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And do the best that I can. If I do that, then I deserve a pro card.
Oh, sorry.
So there's naivety there to be like, yeah, but you're going to stand next to Hattie.
Well, sometimes I agree with that, and I think that sentiment is very true. And then sometimes I think that like it's also them just saying like, I'm going to give this everything I've got.
Yeah.
You know, irrespective of the fact, like, you know, because like, let's be real, like a lot of things have to line up for you to become a professional. Like, because there's even professional, like, quote unquote, like pro bodybuilders, and they never compete in the pro league.
Yeah.
You know, but they needed the goal. You know, it's like, you know, it's easy to get to the top than stay at the top. So that's why when you see a champion and they've kind of taken that spot and made it their own, it's like there's a lot more respect to that because you know, kind of having the hunt is what they needed to stick to the diet, all that kind of stuff. So maybe for some people, like the status of having the pro card or wanting it is what they need to show up every day.
Yeah.
So that's where it's hard to go as the coach and be like, hey, you know, you have to be genetically, like, you don't want to kind of, but it also you have to manage their expectations, right?
So then the flip side of it is, do you have to have that mentality to get it?
Yeah, and do you,
does Nick Walker go like, so Ronnie's story, come and compete and I'll give you a free gym membership.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And he became the greatest
ever, yeah.
So it's like, so that answers that question. No, you don't have to.
Absolutely not.
You don't have to start out thinking you'll be the best in the world to be the best in the world.
But then it's like process driven versus outcome driven as well.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the problem is when they start getting frustrated at the outcomes.
Not getting. Yeah.
So if the only way you can get frustrated is if like you didn't give it everything you got, something happened on the day that maybe you couldn't control, or you know, whatever. It's like you can get frustrated at those things.
Yeah.
But you can't get frustrated at the fact that someone showed up next to you and was bigger than you.
Yeah.
Or leaner than you. Or, well, leaner you probably might. You know, because you know, you could have potentially suffered a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's just some things that you can't control. And it's the same when you guys go to your meet. It's like if someone rocks up in your weight class and like just fucking towels everyone in terms of load, it's like you can't get upset with that.
Yeah.
It's just like, were you better? Did you perform the way you expected? If you didn't, do you know why?
Yeah.
You know, and now you can go again and make sure you're better.
I think I'll use your circling back.
Circling back.
I agree with your statement of like, it hurts when you see someone do that. And like I've had clients that are like, the relationships actually dissolved because they were like nationals. I'm like, and it's like, have a look at national standard.
Yeah.
Like it's not just because you know someone who did like what you said, showed up first time.
Yeah.
Then next time they competed. So like did a practice comp, did a comp, qualified, went to nationals. Like just because you saw that once is not how it works.
No.
Like that's just a person who had it.
It's the one that stands out the most too.
Yeah.
Like, because there's you don't pay attention to
all
everyone else that didn't make it, or it's their third or fourth time trying.
Yeah.
You only pay attention to the one that takes the path of
like,
or everyone. Like I posted the other day. I'm like, it's kind of the same sentiment. It's like everyone wants to skip the struggle.
Yeah.
But no one wants to pay attention to it either. So they only want to pay attention to like the best case scenario.
And the person I was thinking of that did it also had 3 years in the gym, never missing a day. Before they decided to use a barbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not again. It's the novice comp that wasn't a novice. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So yeah, it's as the coach, I think you have to set those expectations, just like cutting the house down next door or something.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
I thought it was a
I
car.
thought that was over like
Yeah.
earlier, but yeah, obviously not.
So yeah, you have to. I reckon I've lost clients in the past from saying that
Absolutely.
and just being like, I'm not going to promise you any outcome.
Yeah,
I'm not going to promise you nationals. I'm not going to promise you records.
the only thing you can promise is that you'll be better.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm consistently going to try and pull you away from that and have you focus on process driven, not outcome driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's like it's the person that posts like going for the pro card that only trains hard in prep.
Yes. And I think...
And then falls off the face of the planet for 6 months after comp and then like, oh, I'm prepping again.
Yeah, or said sport wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Because it messed me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like... I have lifted with a barbell for 9-ish years.
Yeah.
Like, I walked into a gym, aside from like the cardio phase, I walked into a gym, played with machines for maybe like a month or so, and I was like, no, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I deadlifted 80 kilos, and I was like, that's fun. I need to do 100 now. Yeah. And like, that was it. Like, I've just always been drawn to the barbell.
Yeah.
But like, it's been 9 years of that. I competed for a couple years at the start, but in between, aside from when I had a child, it's like you just don't stop throwing everything at what you're trying to achieve anyway, whether it's run 5Ks or whether it's get a vertical jump or whatever, like just throwing it all in there because...
You pointed at me and I just like, here or...
But like... being like having these conversations where it's like, oh, like, what do you mean you've only been using a barbell for like, what do you mean you've only been like squatting again for a couple of months? It's like, I was front squatting 100 kilos. It wasn't a comp squat.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't like, it's just, but then it's the person that lacks training.
Yeah.
And then.
And it's again.
It's again.
It's still there. It didn't go away.
This is Jason's favorite topic at the moment.
You were split squatting the 50s or something ridiculous.
Don't be silly. 60.
Yeah, okay. I undershot you twice today. Fuck,
Shit, coach.
I just don't want to like...
He doesn't want to pump my ego anymore.
I just want to gas her up anymore.
Yeah, but it sounds worse if the coach is
Keeping
like, if I went over, it would sound worse. Like, he's like trying to talk around.
Yeah, it was like, you split squat like 70.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, I'm weak.
Yeah.
I'm weak. And then you go home like thinking you're a failure.
Yeah, I only did 60 and Ben thought I should do 70. Yes. Yes. Process over outcome always.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For consistency, you'll get better outcomes and your mental health will be much improved.
Does anyone know when we started?
We got 37 minutes left.
Oh, I love that for us.
Yeah.
Slay.
All right. So it's Q&A day, but
Let's
we've already
go.
used half an hour.
Let's go.
So we're going to punch through some questions.
Yeah, and I made heaps of statements.
Ben gave me a bunch of topics / statements, not questions. So I'm going to, how about I'll ask a question and then you can
I'll make a statement.
You can make a question out of your statements after my question.
Perfect.
All right. So first question I'm going to ask.
Actually, Jason, sorry. Can I do this one because it's directly correlated to what we just talked about?
We've talked about Jess enough. No, you can. Of course you can.
So something that I get a lot, and Jess is one of them, and Laura's one of the other ones. That people are just like, I want to look or be or as strong as or lift like
C-bum.
Yeah.
Did you put me and C-bum in the same category?
Well, when you said...
That was a big leap.
Just when you said all that, I'm just like, cool, I get it.
I want to be that guy.
I just want to be Ronnie Coleman. Cool.
So, what would you say to that lifter?
I think that it is important to have, in some instances, for people who need it, other people who inspire them, that and give them quote unquote hope.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's nice to see someone do the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's even nicer to see someone who's a little bit closer to you do the thing.
Yeah.
So if you see the best of the best, you're like, probably not really that relatable, but kind of awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
But then, if you see someone who's a little closer to home, like a client of yours, and you're a client of that group as well, the only thing I would say is that you need it to be a healthy kind of dose of motivation and inspiration. Yeah. It can't be like, I can expect to get the same results as that person, because it's not just predicated on like how you show up and how often. It's also predicated on like, how you're made, genetically. And, we spoke about it in the past, and as much as I can tell you guys, like, I'm a terrible bodybuilder and all of that stuff, and Jess can't believe it.
We think you have an amazing physique.
And Jess can't believe it. Jess thinks I'm amazing.
Yeah, which is awesome. So I'm going to hang out with people like Jess, who are like, you're pretty big, man.
Hot cross bum pump, what?
Hell yeah. But yeah, I know there's people out there that are just like, if I was like, once I do this much, I'll look like this person, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. And I used to think that way. Like, I don't know if you ever bought the supplements, like the test boosters and shit. And the guy
on the front.
And I'm like, I used to be like, I can't wait to look like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you always just gauge it off that, it's like, you're going to be extremely disappointed.
I had Steve Cook was my like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ambition.
Not a bad physique.
Yeah.
Not a bad physique. Rate it.
I think like I had this conversation literally last night. Like I organized a check-in call with one of my clients because I was like, you need a little bit of extra love. Like, let's have a chat. And it was like very based off the same thing. Like, how come yada yada can do blah, blah, blah. So like I had to like strip it back to it was like, first of all, addressing the fact that we're all made up differently. And like, yes, there's that. And like, so-and-so would have a fat ass even if she never touched a barbell in her life. But then the other part is like, well, rather than trying to like put everything in or put everything on how she looks or how she performs, why don't we start by ticking the same daily boxes of habits? So like, it's going to look different but it's going to be like, okay, cool. So even if you do all of these things based on genetic makeup, the outcome's going to look different. But rather than being the person that does the things to look like that, how would you feel if you were the person that did the things?
Yeah.
Would you feel better about looking at yourself in the mirror if you knew that yesterday you got 7 hours of sleep, that you pre-planned your protein for the day, that you knew that your meal timing was good so that you weren't going to get hungry at 7 p.m. and after she eats dinner early. But like, like going through all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hitting your steps. It doesn't even have to be 10,000. But if you know that you hit 8,000 steps every single day because you said you were going to, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like that would help.
Yeah.
And it's very rarely, and then it becomes like a whole other thing. Like people that do that and still don't look like that. But for the most part, people aren't generally ticking the boxes. So they feel really self-conscious about their lack of effort.
Yeah.
And then that is reflected upon their reflection. And they're like, well, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But that's also because like internally they know that they're not doing what they need to be the person that they want to be.
Yeah. It's worse to be not doing the thing.
Yeah.
Because you're internalizing, I'm not doing the thing. And then when I try and do the thing, I don't look like them. And then I'm not doing the thing. It becomes
a
festering mess versus the person that is doing all the things, like we said, and just gets to the point where it's like,
you just got to run your
why
own
the
race.
fuck do they look like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, my response was literally like, my coaching answer to this question was aspire to their habits.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's almost like we speak the same language.
Funny that. Like, just, what do they do on a daily basis? And I get it. I think one of the traps, is it a trap? I don't know. And I say this to you all the time, like the amount of times when I don't want to do something, and even more now when I'm like, because I'm parent tired also. But before that, I was like, fuck, Jess gets this done. She has a kid.
Oh.
And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's so much harder than like, oh no, work's busy. Like, work's busy and a kid. That is like a big driver. But then I guess the flip side of that is people see, well, Jess is a mum and Jess is relatable and Jess is super bubbly and friendly and she doesn't seem far away.
Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to fit out of the door.
Why is she achieving...
We've got to do this when you come in.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
You've got to get you coming back,
Why is she achieving outcomes that seem so disproportionate to what I am?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you miss the 9 years of effort. You miss the 5 a.m. sessions. You miss the perfect meals for exceptional periods of time. You miss the fact that her brother's transformation in the last 4 months. It's like there's some goodies in there that you have some access to, and it doesn't take away from your work ethic. But it's like there's a lot of things going into that 190 kilo deadlift.
Oh, you piece of shit! It was only 155.
So it's aspiring to the habits.
Absolutely.
And letting go of the outcomes, because you'll feel awesome about yourself
100%
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and just like work on being better yourself.
That's
you can't like you'll expire in your hobbies, every hobby, if you just look for a result that someone else does and tries to match it.
Yeah.
Just like show up, become bigger, stronger, leaner, faster, whatever it is that you want to do in your goals, and just make sure you're working towards being a better version of yourself. And you can look to these people for inspiration, of course, and because they are quote unquote inspirational when you look at how they behave. It's amazing to have people like that. So don't not look for people like that, but just don't think that you're going to get the same thing as them.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll add to that is I'm going to steal from Chris again, because I've got to do that once a week at least.
Yeah.
Is your heroes aren't special. They are just people that have dedicated themselves to one particular outcome at the cost of everything else.
Yeah.
So what, again, they don't want to look at the struggle.
We don't. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's like, well,
you don't see it either.
What is, and like Nick Walker may be a bad example. I don't know, but it's like, what's their relationships like? What's their job like? What's their family life like? Spread that across the whole like wheel, and we don't want to use the term balance, but like there's other.
Are you willing to sacrifice and not have what they don't have in order to have what they do have?
Yeah, and we just had the conversation at the cafe. Like I was just like, there's nothing on the table right now that could make me stick to a meal plan.
Yes.
Like, no. And you guys are in the position where you're like, yes, it's the holiday, it's the comp, it's whatever. This is enough for me to...
Hot cross bun diets for 10 more days, but yes. After that, I've set it out on the internet. I'm following my meal plan.
All right, your turn, Jess. I'll shut up now.
I've got a few